What's up guys, Sekapoko here, bringing you another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. This will be going over my free-to-play tier list guide, going over all the free-to-play units in the entire game, minus the Fortnite units, because fuck that. Then we're going to be going over the Raid units, the Colosseum units, the Kai Colosseum and Kai Raid units, and finally the treasure, and of course the treasure mode units as well. So we're going to go over the really important ones, the ones that I think are going to be must farm, and the ones that are not so free. One of the things to note about this tier list, this is not for a 100% free-to-play account, and what that means by 100% free-to-play is that you're only using free-to-play units. No one is like that, and if you are like that, you are a masochist. Holy shit, I don't know anybody that does that, but there are some people that do that, so all power to you. But this is for most players that decide to go, hey, I am free-to-play, but I am going to be a free-to-play player by taking my rare recruit units and using them with my free-to-play units and making a hybrid account. And this is very, very common. Everybody does it like this. You're going to use all the units you can in your account, and they're not going to make 100% free-to-play teams. You're going to make teams that are hybrid between free-to-play and rare recruit. And that's why these teams are really, really helpful, so they give you a lot of ideas. That's why free-to-play teams are super good. So what I decided to do is make a free-to-play tier list that helps out players that are free-to-play, not accounts that are free-to-play, like you don't pull ever. Fuck that. Who does that? So take that into account when you guys are looking at this tier list. And I go over exactly what I believe in the tier list to be true, like what's good on these types of accounts, etc. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay guys, so we're going to go over my first attempt at making a free-to-play tier list. Now the thing with free-to-play tier list is, again, this is not based on a 100% free-to-play account. This is based on a person that is just a normal player that has both rare recruits and free-to-play units on their account. The free-to-play tier list is going to be starting this month, and I might do continuations. We'll see. So the first thing we're going to go over is the ranking system, how each of the characters are ranked. And they're not going to be ranked together. They're going to be clumped in tiers, of course. That's what everybody wants. They want to see, okay, so what are the ones I really need to farm, what are the ones I kind of need to farm, and they're really good, and ones I kind of don't need to farm anymore because of power creep, and the ones I don't need to farm at all, just get one copy and I'm done with. So that's how I've grouped them, and that's basically what everybody wants to see nowadays is what is useful, what do I need to get, what will help me out in future content, and what will help me right now. So one of the things to go over is that this ranking system is based on how good these are currently. So if you're watching this 6 months from now, if you're watching this 3 months from now, this list might be outdated, and then there'll probably be other versions that I have going on. So that's why I will probably have to keep it up to date, and it'll change. Now, must farm units are like units that are definitely good, and they're going to be good for a while. Useful units that are going to be really good. They're going to be good in a lot of situations, not every situation, whereas must farm units can be good in almost every situation. Power creep units are units that are great. They're just not good anymore because there's like rare recruits that just totally just decimate them. There's legends that do what they do that you might have. They're good units that you could farm if you don't have the best unit. So that's what power creep units are for. So if you don't have the best unit, that's what those units are for. But they are good, but they're really good in niche situations otherwise. Trash units, you don't even bother farming these because these are just crap. This list is just going to be for helping everybody out on building teams, what they need to farm so that you can use your gems wisely. So the first thing we're going to go over is treasure mode units and adventure mode units. Now there are 4 adventure mode units that are extremely good, and they're going to stay extremely good for a very long time. The first of which is treasure mode Ace, which is going to be, I believe, the treasure mode after treasure mode Gear 4, which is the next treasure mode on the global version at the time I am recording this. Then there's going to be treasure mode Zoro and Sanji, treasure mode Gear 4 obviously, and then treasure mode Sabo. All 4 of these are the best treasure modes right now on the Japanese version, and will probably be the best ones on the global version as they come out, of course, unless they do something really weird. I don't really see these units going anywhere. All of these units are extremely good. Ace is an amazing captain, one of the best free-to-play captains in the game. Zoro, same thing, one of the best free-to-play captains in the game. Ace goes up to a 3.44 times multiplier, whereas Zoro Sanji goes up to a 3.75 times multiplier. You can use his captain action to manipulate orbs, and it doesn't trigger orb interrupt, which is extremely strong. There's a lot of orb manipulate interrupts in the game coming out very soon, so this is a very, very good mechanic. There's Gear 4 Luffy, which is the first universal color affinity booster that was ever put into the game. Very, very, very strong unit. And the 600,000 damage single target hit that he does is extremely strong and very good for Fortnights. What a lot of us do in the Japanese version nowadays is we bring a double Neptune team with Gear 4 Luffy sub, and you just use that to almost bring the boss's HP down to like almost nothing, and then use 2 Neptune specials to kill a boss. So really, really great unit. I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. Then we have Treasure Mode Sabo, which is the first unit in the entire game that did a conditional boost and or manipulate, as well as proc his own conditional in the same unit. This unit is so freaking broken. I still cannot believe they made this unit. It is dumb how good this unit is. There was a unit that was just put into play, Legend Katakuri, that does what he does, but does not proc his own conditional until the next turn. So that's how strong Legend Katakuri is in comparison to Treasure Mode Sabo. So it's kind of a weird thing that that they're both this strong. Going into the useful tier, we got Big Mom, Mihawk, Whitebeard, and Cavendish. They're all extremely good units, extremely useful to have in your box. Big Mom, not really a necessary unit to have in your box, but she does do an orb boost and type boost and a color affinity boost all in one unit, which is really good. And she does full board orb manipulate. All of that is really good, but there's not like a ton of situations where you're like, oh, I really need Big Mom, but there might be. You don't know. There's Mihawk, where Mihawk is an extremely useful unit for slasher teams. The thing with slashers, they're not really useful at all right now, but the Mihawk is a really useful unit for V2 Fuji teams. He's really good for any slasher team, really good as a slasher captain, but slashers are kind of suck right now. Then there's Treasure Mode Whitebeard, who's an extremely useful unit because he does wave clear through barriers, which was super, super good for a lot of situations. You're going to find out how useful he is in the next Kai Colosseum, I believe, when we have Kai Colosseum Diamante, I believe, and Whitebeard is like a super good unit for that. Then we have Cavendish, super, super great unit, does full board orb manipulate, really good for your V2 Duo Flamingo teams. He's really, really perfect for those teams. He does get kind of power creeped a little bit later, but not so bad that you don't want to use him. There are tons of units to use for his spot. I mean, I typically use limited rare recruit Kobe over him, but he's still an amazing unit. He's also one of the best free-to-play captains in the entire game, but his teams are a little bit more difficult to build for. Then we have Treasure Mode Kizaru, who's arguably the worst Treasure Mode unit, and really hard to use because of his specials. Only for one color. But it's for 3 turns! Going into the Colosseum units, we're going to have Colosseum Neptune going to be in here in the must farm tier with Time Skip Kid, Jesus Burgess, Pedro, Enel, Lucy, Shiryu. All of these guys are in the must farm tier. Now, the reason all of these guys are in the must farm tier is Neptune, super good unit. Oh my god. His special ability is amazing. His captain ability is amazing. Everything about him is awesome. Yeah, farm him, duh. Time Skip Kid, oh my god, this unit is so useful. I've been using this unit like ridiculously amounts. Like he has a 2-turn special cooldown reduction as well as a massive freaking wave clear for a lot of different teams. So very, very good unit. Then we have Jesus Burgess, arguably one of the best free-to-play captains in the game, depending on how you use him for fighter teams. However, fighter teams kind of need a legend to back him up. So if they do have like another fighter legend coming out, that'd be really great. But he has a 5-turn 1.75 boost if you do get him off, so that's really good. Then we have Pedro, one of the best units for V2 Rayleigh teams, for Croc teams, any team that we want to be low HP as well as get a color affinity boost. Very, very good unit. He also does a mini wave clear through barriers, which is awesome. And we have Colosseum NL, which is probably the next Colosseum unit coming out on the global version. Extremely good unit, still good to this day on JP. You can still use him on your Driven teams. He's not used as much anymore, but you know that's just mainly because Driven was seeing a little bit less use right after V2 Aokiji and Akainu, just because there was a lot of hype and there's a lot of new legends. And it's mainly not because V2 Doflamingo is worse, it's just because everyone wants to try out new legends. But definitely NL, very, very strong unit. Colosseum Lucy coming in with a must farm tier, obviously one of the best units for a Lucy team, super good unit. Colosseum Nekomamushi, still an amazing unit. In no way is this unit bad. I can see tons of situations where Neko is really good and you just want to fit him on your team. And Colosseum Shiryu, the reason he made this tier is because there's actually a very small pool of free-to-play poison removers. You would be very surprised how small that pool is. So definitely a must farm unit because he removes poison. He also removes Toxic, and then he also has damage reduction and does wave clear through barriers up to 120,000 damage. So like, he's really good. And he can do fixed damage basically, because anything that has low HP or has a barrier and like a lot of fixed damage on it, this Shuri is perfect for. Like, that happens sometimes, and he's a great unit. So definitely an amazing unit to have in your arsenal, and he fits all the categories you need him to have, and he has a very high attack stat, so that's good. The useful tier, we're going to start off with Colosseum Rayleigh, and the reason he did not make the next tier up is because he's useful, he's just not perfect. We got Raizo, Sicilian, Kairos, Ideo, Brindy World, Thunderlord McDie, and finally Danchin Zhao. Starting off with Colosseum Rayleigh, really good unit. However, on Free Spirit teams, you don't really need him, but he has a bind remover, has some silence remover. He does have certain uses, but there are rare recruits that are just so much better, and there's a large amount of rare recruits that are so much better that I just don't really find Rayleigh super useful. But there are people that will need him, and he will be a great unit to have. Raizo, very good unit on your shooter teams, and very good on your V2 Aokiji teams, because Hina is a delayer, and Hina is your color affinity booster, where Raizo can be your conditional booster, so they kind of pair well together. So Raizo, very, very good for those teams. You can also use Raizo on a Frankie team. You can use him on a Luffy Ace team. If you're using Ace as a captain, you just have to pop the Raizo first. Put Ace as your captain. Make sure Ace is your captain. Pop Raizo, then you can pop your special, and then everything will be okay. But you just have to make sure that you do the special in the correct order, but he does work on a Luffy Ace team as well. Then for Sicilian, he is very good unit, very, very, very strong. Good for your V2 Akainu teams if you don't have V2 Shanks, so you can't find V2 Shanks friend captains, very good. If you're running a full int team anyways. You can always run Zephyr, but Zephyr... then there's Kairos. Really good for speed farming, super useful unit to have in really weird situations, and there are situations where he does come in useful, so just look out for those. Ideo, very strong unit. I found this unit to be way more useful than I realized, and the really nice thing is he's fighter first then shooter, so he's really good on Frankie teams. Super cool unit to have. Then we have Brindy World, who is a very, very strong unit to have in your arsenal for a shooter type booster, but there are a lot of other units that are rare recruits that power creep him, so just know that, he's good, but if you have other units, you can probably use those over him. Then we have Thunderlord McGuy, who is a slasher and cerebral unit that is a 2-turn delayer. The nice thing about him is he is slasher delayer and cerebral delayer, which are 2 units that may need delays depending on your teams. Then we have Danchin Zhao, very useful unit in his kit. However, he's like a faster version of, arguably he's like that raid unit, the Dex one that I can't remember because he sucks, but he's arguably like the similar to that. He just has a higher combo whip barrier. Very good captain ability though, very good captain ability, which is really surprising. Then we're going into the power crop tier. We're gonna have Inarashi, Kuro, Kinemon, Kanjuro, Zephyr, Ace, Apu, Killer, Ganfor, Moria, and everybody else is trash. Now going into this list in a little bit more detail, we got Inarashi, good as a captain, not so good as a sub. His special ability is kind of meh. Then we got Kuro, good for speed farming teams, not good for a lot of teams. Kinemon, definitely power crept by his Kai version. Kanjuro, not really good at all because you don't need him on striker teams, and on free spirit teams you have better orb manipulate anyways. For Zephyr, you can use him, but his HP reduction is super annoying. Ace, very good unit to have in super weird situations, but not perfect. Apu, definitely power crept by a lot of other free-to-play units because his damage taken increased debuff. Then we have Killer, very good unit, but he's definitely power crept by his Kai version. Ganfor, very good unit back in the day, but nowadays not so good because the HP reduction to deal damage is not really a used technique anymore. And Moria, good in certain situations for that 300,000 fixed damage, but there's not a ton of those anymore. Going into the raid boss tier, we're going to have a lot of really good units that have just come out on the Japanese version. Raid Zoro, very, very good unit. Raid Lucci, Senor Pink, Bartolomeo, Rayleigh, Akainu, Sabo, Kuma, all of these are amazing, amazing must-farm units that you must have it in your box for a lot of different content. Raid Zoro, super good for utility, super good for damage, and an amazing captain. Arguably a very, very, very good free-to-play captain. Not the best free-to-play captain in the game, but a very, very strong one. Then we have Raid Lucci, also a very, very strong free-to-play captain. Very good with a self-proccing additional boost, and a very hard-hitting special, so really good on your big mom teams if you do want to hit really hard with that. Then we have Senor Pink, who is a very strong unit as well that removes chain lock and chain coefficient, as well as gives a 1.575 times delayed boost to free spirit units if you have a free spirit captain. Bartolomeo, super amazing unit. Oh my god, this unit is good. I cannot believe they released a unit this strong, where it's 50% at heal with all the resilience removal and all the other stuff on him. He's very, very strong. Raid Rally, a universal booster. He is kind of lackluster in the limit break department because he doesn't have one yet. Like all the other characters on this list do, but I'm really hoping they come out with some cool stuff for Rayleigh. And what I think they didn't come out with anything for him yet is because he came out first on the global version and then the Japanese version, kind of like the Raid Glofy, I think we're calling him. Glofy? I don't know. Raid Doflamingo. Part version 2. Ooh. Glofy is easier. Then we have Raid Akainu. Very, very good unit. When he first released, he was actually really shit because you could never find a use for him in any content. There was like no use for him. And there were weird situations where you could use him because like, oh wait, I could use Raid Akainu for this weird situation. Oh, I have these other free-to-play units that I just make it so I don't even need to use Raid Akainu because I don't need to do that much damage. And as time has progressed, this unit has grown and flowered into an amazing unit because he's full board orb manipulate for strength units or just giving you a full board strength orbs, and he does a 1.75 color affinity boost for strength units. The nice thing about him is that over time he's become better and better and better, and with his limit break he gets even better, so definitely makes him in my must farm category. As time has progressed, he's just become better. Then we have Sabo, super good unit. He's never lost his usefulness. He's come out over 2 years ago. He's still very good. Kuma, same deal. Block orb manipulate, as well as tandem and meet orb manipulate. That part's not as useful, but the 1.75 orb boost along with it. So let's say if your orb beneficial enable was not working perfectly and you couldn't use meet and tandem because they are negative beneficial orb enabled, then you can use Kuma to get 4 orbs, block orbs, etc. Whatever you need to do. That's a really nice thing about Kuma. I like him a lot. He's seen a lot less use recently because of the a lot of the content has made it so that you have negative beneficial orb enable, or you get interrupted if you use an orb boost along with a large set of block orbs. So that's the only reason he's been shut down lately, and that's the reason people are using him less. But he's still a very, very useful unit, and I don't think he's lost his usefulness at all. There's going to be a time very soon where new content's going to come out where they're going to interrupt on type boost. We give you full board block orbs. So this is going to be much better to use then. For the useful tier, we're going to have Sanji, Bellamy, Frankie, Tesoro, Shiki, Magellan, Boa, Kizaru, and Kizaru. All of these are extremely useful units to have in your arsenal. The reason Sanji did not make it to the must farm tier, even though he is a 2x powerhouse type booster as well as a very good captain, is if you look at his captain ability, by the way, he's exactly the same as Danton Zhao. There's very little differences there. So just look at the 2 captain abilities, you'll know that they're very, very similar. So that a captain ability has not come out of nowhere. His special ability is very good with a 2x powerhouse booster, but there are way less situations where you need a 2x powerhouse booster versus you need one of the Boa sisters or another kind of mechanic that goes along with your powerhouse type boost. So Raid Sanji actually sees a lot less use than anticipated, which is really weird. Then Bellamy, really good unit if you need to have beneficial orb enable along with your orb boost as well as an HP cut. Very good unit there. For some reason, Bellamy had just seen tons of use in lots of content. I don't understand why. Frankie, the reason he's in this useful tier is because, and not in the power cup tier, is because no one has actually power cut Frankie ever. And the reason that's true is because Frankie does what no other unit in the entire game does. He removes a lot of positive buffs completely, and no one else does that yet. So with his limit break, he got a lot more useful with a lot more cooldown reduction. So if you do use a special, then you can lower Frankie's cooldown so he can get around like special rewind mechanics. So he's still a very, very good unit. So I understand if a lot of people don't find him that useful, they don't like his 1.5 type boost, but you know what? Frankie's not really used for the 1.5 type boost. He's usually used for wave clear or used for getting rid of positive buffs. The positive type boost that you have is just a bonus. Then we have Tesoro, which is a full board orb manipulator. And actually, I'm going to put him in the useful tier here because as a sub, he is a very good unit now. Getting a lot of matching orbs on driven and cerebral teams, very useful because he can get Psy full board. Very good unit, very good unit. I obviously there are better units, but he's definitely useful. I'm seeing the light on Tesoro a little bit, and he's coming through. Plus, he's really useful if you need gil farming. He's like one of the only free to play gil increasers in the entire game. There are very few free-to-play gil increasers, and as limit breaks come out, that's really, really useful to have. Shiki, good unit for block orbs and type boost, but you know what? No one uses Shiki that much anymore, but you can. There's situations where he's useful, but not a lot. I use Magellan, like never, but he's still a good unit because no one else does what he does. Boa, I use Boa a lot, and I really like Boa. Really good on treasure mode ace teams, a lot of really weird situations. I use her a lot. However, She's definitely got power crept by her Kai version, and I needed to make a distinction between the two. So I could put her in the must farm tier, but I'm going to keep her in the useful tier for now. And Kizaru, stupid good. This unit didn't get power crept by his Kai version. It's about the same for the both. It's just like a flip-flop on types, depending on what color you need. And the nice thing is that he fits perfectly on Lucy teams and a lot of other teams, and his cooldown reduction is his biggest asset. Cooldown reduction for fighter and shooter, super useful unit. Going into the power crept tier, we're going to have version 1 Raid Doflamingo Kappa. Then we have Caesar, Virgo, Pika, Enel, Aokiji, Zephyr, Heracles, and Mihawk, and everybody else that's listed is trash. So Doflamingo, obviously a lot worse than he was in his heyday. He's still a very good unit, but to be honest, Kai Doflamingo much better, and I very rarely find a situation to use regular Doflamingo unless I'm using him on a Lucy team where I have to use him, or using Raid Doflamingo on a Nami team. But why would you do that? She's an ore booster. Then there's Caesar, not super useful. I don't think I've ever found a situation to use Caesar. Literally every time I want to use Caesar, I'm for a driven team. I'm like, oh wait, I'll just use Doflamingo. Oh wait, I'll use another driven ore booster. Oh yeah, I'll use another driven ore booster. For Cerebral, you'll never use him because you have like literally infinity ore boosters. Virgo, really not useful. I mean, I guess he's like the step down of version 2 Law, but no one uses strikers anymore, so it doesn't really matter. Then there's Pika, not super useful anymore. Like his Kai version didn't really help him out either. There's not a lot on him. Enel, I'm gonna say Enel's trash now, but there are situations where he's like, oh, I'll just use Enel because he's a quick booster, but he's definitely power crept. The Kai version is definitely better for Dex. However, I don't really have a ton of situations where quick you need a type booster. There are more situations where you need orb boosters, but much less for type boosters because, you know, V2 Aokiji OP. And you can use V2 Aokiji Friend Captain for other situations. Then we got Aokiji. Striker type boosters, not really used anymore. There's tons of striker type boosters, but you don't really need V2 Aokiji. Zephyr, shooter type boosters are like a dime a dozen. There's tons of them. Heracles, definitely not used anymore, but he's still useful. But he's definitely power crept by a lot of other units. And Mihawk, definitely power crept by his Kai version. There are more situations for his Kai version than his regular version, even though you can get more sockets on the regular version, I believe, with the limit. Kai raids and Neo raids. To wrap this up, there's the last section of the tier list. We're going to have the Kai raid Boa, Kai raid Akainu, Kai raid Kuma, Kai raid Sabo, Kai Colosseum Diamante, Kai Colosseum Kinemon are in the must farm tier. And the reason these are all in the must farm tier is because Boa 5 socket's super dumb good and the upgrade is amazing. If you don't know what she does, check her out. She's amazing. Akainu, same thing as the original Akainu, just int. Very good unit, and he gets an extra socket. Kuma gets an extra socket, but the limit break on the strength Kuma gets the X socket back, so that's great. But int Kuma, very good unit if you need to have an int unit instead of a strength Kuma. So both of them, very good units to have in your arsenal. Sabo, very good for a lot of different teams. Pretty much exactly the same as the Dex Sabo, but now Dex Sabo is better than the Sai Sabo. It kind of flip-flops between Kai versions, so like you'll get the normal version, and the normal version get power crept by the Kai version. The Kai version now gets power crept by the limit break of the normal version. We haven't had any limit breaks on Kais yet, so if we do, that's amazing. Who knows if we will? We have no idea. Diamante, very good unit. Oh my god, I was very surprised. Driven 2x type booster with some orb manipulate. Ooh, that was very good. The original version of this unit was utter shit, but this unit, nice. It's nice. Kinemon must farm unit. The Psy version is infinitely better than the strength version. One of the biggest problems with the strength version was the HP thresholding, and this HP thresholding is gone with this Psy Kinemon. Much better, and he doesn't have a type disadvantage, making him very good for Fortnights and a lot of other content. Going into the useful tier, we got Killer, Enel, Kizaru, Bellamy, Doflamingo. Doflamingo, very useful, however, power crept by a lot of other things because you usually want some kind of utility to go along with your orb boost. Bellamy, still very useful as well. He does have some utility along with him, giving you that orb beneficial enable. Then we have Kizaru, still very useful unit. Enel, Dex Enel, actually really good with the 5 sockets, really good on Nami teams if you need that type boost. And then Kai Killer, very good for orb manipulate, and actually a decent captain. So if you do need that striker/slasher captain and make the hybrid team, you can do that too. For the power crap tier, we're going to have Aokiji, Mihawk, X-Drake, and Pika, and there are no other units here that are going to be listed in the cards because that's all of them. Aokiji, definitely power crap. Mihawk, definitely power crapped by a lot of other content. Then we have Aokiji, Mihawk, X-Drake, and Pika in the Power Crept tier. All of these units kind of Power Crept, and you don't really use them at all. The X-Drake you do use, surprisingly. So X-Drake I might move up to the useful tier. The really weird thing with the X-Drake is that he's very, very good for situations where you have block orbs or tandem or meter or something like that, and you can't use an orb booster. So he's useful to those situations, but those are super niche. They don't happen all the time, but he does have his uses. So definitely a good unit. But you just kind of like, obviously Kuma's better. It's like for every situation, you're like, oh, I'll just bring Kuma, he's better. And then like, oh, I can't bring an orb booster, so I have to bring X-Drake. That's really what you use him for, as a free-to-play alternative. Then for Fortnights, we're gonna have Power Crept units. Basically every single unit is either Power Crept or trash. No one really cares about Fortnite units because all of these are units that you're going to farm anyways, no matter what you do, and you're not sure which ones to keep. So if you want to know which units you should keep, just do your own homework. Most of the newer ones are better. Most of the older ones are shit. There are some good older ones, but just look at them. If they look like they're shit, then they're probably shit. All right, guys, my name is Sekapoko. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you smack the like button down below, as well as the subscribe button down below, so we get lots of support in the channel, and of course, keep the channel growing. If you guys do want to get notifications on all my videos, make sure you get the bell notification right next to it, so you guys get notifications every time I drop a video. If you want to check out the last couple videos, they're right over there. You guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.